Hello and welcome to today's webinar where we're going to convince you on why you should choose UEA as your top university of study for September in 2020. Yes, we are that confident that we're going to do a good job with our webinar.
So today we're not just going to talk at you as kind of staff members at UEA. We've got three of our fantastic students. So today we're joined by Leah, George and Emily, who are just going to run through kind of their ideas of why they chose UEA, what they'd like about UEA, and also talked about kind of online learning, because I know that might be quite a worry for some of you about whether to go to university in September. So they're just going to share their experience of online learning, so hopefully kind of reassure you. And then lastly, you can kind of ask them any questions that you have about their course, about university in general, and we'll be able to answer those at the end.
Okay.
So our colleague Lucy has just posted some kind of information about sound settings today. So just to start before we get, make sure the session kind of runs smoothly. If you just click on the cog on the right hand side of your screen, you can adjust your sound settings so hopefully you can hear and see us okay. If you've joined via a iPad or via a phone, just need to click that you're happy for us to access your microphone. And lastly, if you're having connectivity problems, I know some of you are kind of jumping in and out. If you run this in Google Chrome, it tends to work a lot better. So please use that. And then, yeah, so firstly, the kind of format of this webinar, just to give you a bit of an overview before we get started. We're going to firstly talk to George, Emily and Leah about their experience of online learning. Leah's going to post a video about kind of her experience of why she chose UEA. And then also we're going to hopefully come back to kind of George and Emily, and they'll be able to give us a presentation.
So once we've watched Leah's video that she's made for us as one of our resident content creators, and hopefully technology doesn't fail us with that and be really embarrassing, we're going to go back over to Emily and George again. So backwards and forwards between us, but mostly the students talking at you because they're a lot more interesting than us basically. So regarding COVID-19, I know the big one at the moment, there isn't a huge amount we can say at the moment, but we can definitely appreciate that you must all be really concerned about what is going to happen in September. You spent all this time getting excited about university and then this stupid disease came along and put a scupper to that really. But in regards to what UEA is thinking about it, at the moment, we are working towards opening campus in September. So we are saying that you will be at university in September and the campus will be open. You're not going to be at home learning. It's likely that we'll have some social distancing in place and some blended learning.
So what is blended learning? Because I know it's a term that we're starting to use and you might not kind of know what this is. So essentially, as Beth said, we're going to hopefully open campus come September, but with some kind of social distancing measures in place. So our approach at UEA is going to be a bit of blended learning, which essentially means that some of your lectures and some of your classes will take place virtually and some kind of as they would normally. So for example, if you've got a small seminar or a small classroom, these may be able to go ahead, but just with kind of spread around the room. However, some of your lecture theatres, maybe where typically there used to be 200 of you in a lecture theatre, these would now take place online, and you can kind of sign in like you would now in the comfort of your own home. And this is what our current students have been doing at the moment.
Yeah, so you can literally sit in your pajamas in your university halls room and watch a lecture. So there's really nothing to whinge about with that. It sounds absolutely amazing to me. Some students do turn up to lectures in pajamas anyway, but just a little bit of something that might be different for you guys. So George and Emily and Leah, like Meg said, have been doing this for the last few weeks. So Emily, we're going to go to you first. What was it like adapting to this different style in learning? If you just want to unmute your mic and camera and tell us how you found it. Emily?
Sorry, my computer just had a bit of a moment.
That's okay. So if you could just tell us how you felt adapting to this new way of learning. Was it weird? Was it easy?
Honest opinion, at first it was a little bit weird. I think like having the confidence to like virtually raise your hand and speak through a camera can be a bit scary at first. But honestly, like, it just kind of felt normal after the first or second kind of goes. So for lectures, you don't really have to participate at all. You just sort of watch, and then my lecturers in particular would ask if everything was clear. So that was quite straightforward. Seminars were, so a seminar is where you are in a smaller group and you kind of prepare stuff beforehand. So my seminars were a lot more interactive, but we had like systems in place to make sure that people didn't talk over each other, and everything was pretty comfortable. So yeah, I've had a good experience.
Fantastic, thank you. George, do you want to, I'll come to you now as a medic. How has yours been kind of different to Emily's, and how have you experienced kind of online learning?
Honestly, I totally agree with Emily. Like, I think it's at first it was slightly terrifying. It's different, it's a change, but like it's easy. You just log in. Like, I don't have to wake up like an hour before to get dressed, get ready, and turn up. I literally just turn on my laptop and I'm just like, right, let's go. Um, and I think the university has really risen to the challenge of online learning as well. I'm obviously in a bit of a unique situation where I am studying medicine. A lot of my lectures are run by clinicians. They're busy working because, global pandemic, but they've made sure that we've got all our lectures kind of on our online system so we can access them absolutely whenever we want. And then our GP, our PBL tutors, they still carry on doing stuff for us. They're very easy to contact at all times, and it's been quite nice actually, like having that relaxed period of time to like do work at my own rate, but also still have the great access to the people that make the course amazing in the first place. So I've loved it really.
Thank you, George. Leah, do you have anything else that you would like to add about kind of your experience of online learning and chatting to your academics and your teachers and so on? You can hear us. Cool. I don't know if Leah's come on screen. Hopefully she might be able to join us in a bit. But thank you so much, George and Emily. That was really insightful, and hopefully given you guys a bit of reassurance as to what September, October might look like when you come to us at university. So yeah, thank you both.
So now the reason we are all here today, the UCAS deadline, as you will all be aware, has been extended for firm and insurance until the 18th of June. So it's really helpful of UCAS to do that, and really, really lovely. So you've got until this date to decide which uni you want to go to for firm or insurance with. So obviously some of you have 5 offers there, so this can be quite difficult. So we're going to show you why UEA should be within your top 2. So we're going to go over to Leah now. So Meg's going to queue up the video, and Leah has created a video for us because she's got her own YouTube channel. So I'm hoping that Leah is there to be able to introduce her video now. She just messaged saying her audio doesn't seem to be working. That's absolutely fine. So Leah has created a video for us on 5 reasons to love UEA. Like it says on screen, there are a lot more than 5 reasons, but we haven't got all day to go through this webinar. So she's just created a video, and it's quite visual to show you as to why you should choose UEA.
Hi everyone, my name is Leah and I'm a second year geography student at UEA, and today I'm just going to talk to you about 5 reasons why I love UEA and why you should choose it as well. And I'm also going to try and make it as visual as I can. I know at the moment you're probably unable to visit the campus, so I want to include as many videos and photos as I possibly can to give you more of an idea of what the campus is like and just give you an overall feel for UEA. So the first reason why I love UEA is the campus. This was probably the biggest factor that drew me to UEA when I went to an applicant day. I remember just walking around the campus and absolutely falling in love with it. And as it's a campus uni, it makes everything so much easier and quicker to get to. Everything is just all in one place, which also makes it feel really safe, and you can get to know your way around super easily. It's got a massive lake down at the bottom, and that is really nice to sit out and just chill with your mates in the summer. And also the square is like kind of the hub of UEA, and everyone sits out there on the steps with like drinks. It's just such a nice space to socialise. So the second point that I wanted to talk about was the clubs and societies that UEA has to offer. Anything that you can think you would want to join, UEA probably has it, and all of them are student led as well, which is really nice because they know what you want. They all organise other events as well. So I joined Environmental Science Society, Cocktail Society, which was so much fun, and commercial dance, and all of them had other events that they would organise. So I went on bar crawls, end of semester meals, sports night with commercial. So that is a really good way to meet like-minded people, and I've made some of my best friends from those clubs and societies that I'm still friends with now. I also had the opportunity to take part in the annual dance show, which was really fun. There is also this event called Derby Day, and if you've not heard of it, it's basically a massive sports day between UEA and Essex Uni, and they alternate which uni it's held at each year. If you're picked to compete in the team, it's really fun. Even if you're not, you can go and watch your friends play, and there's like a club night afterwards, and it's just a really nice day. Everyone sat out in the steps afterwards, and yeah, it was just so nice. The third point that I wanted to make is nightlife. I know that this won't be for everyone, but for me, looking at unis, I do love a club. I love going out, and Norwich seems like quite a small city, so you might not think that there's a lot of places to go out, but if you know where to go, then there definitely is enough, and it's also really fun. There's a club on campus which is called the LCR, and that has club nights on a Tuesday and a Saturday, and then it also has sports night on a Wednesday. That is just the downstairs area of the LCR that anyone can go to. That you don't have to be doing a sport, but basically all of the sports have different themes, so people tend to go like with their sport. And the LCR is such a good night out. It's probably my favourite night out, to be honest. It's just so easy to get to because it's on campus, so you don't need to book a taxi. And it's also really, really cheap. So on a Tuesday it's £4 a ticket, and Saturday is £6, and you just get those on the SU website. There are also quite a good variety of clubs in Norwich itself as well. So there is Loft and Karma. Both of those are really good on a Thursday. Loft is only £1 entry on a Thursday, and it's also got karaoke downstairs, so that is so fun. You also have the Waterfront, which is more for like indie kind of music, and that's really good on a Friday. You've also got Bar and Beyond, Mantra's really popular with UEA students as well. Like, there definitely is enough places to go. The LCR also holds other events as well, so it holds the dance shows that happen, and they also hold concerts sometimes, and they also have disco bingo there, which is so much fun. Honestly, I cannot tell you, it's probably the best night out I've ever had. It was wild, so you have to go to disco bingo if you do come to UEA. Point number 4 is the teaching and resources at UEA. So UEA has a gold teaching of excellence framework, and it is also in the top 25 unis for the UK according to the Complete University Guide. So it's got some really good statistics. It's definitely up there with some of the top unis in the UK, and the facilities that UEA has to offer for learning are also really good. So the library is such a good space to learn. It's got loads of different floors, and a lot of them are like silent study areas, which makes it really easy to concentrate. UEA are also constantly trying to improve the resources that they have. So the completion of the new science building was done last year, and I had quite a few of my lectures in there, and that is a really nice space because everything is brand new. They've got all new labs and stuff, so that was really nice. And then the final reason why you should choose UEA is because of the city Norwich. A lot of people see Norwich as quite a small city, but there definitely is enough to do there, and it's such a pretty city. You feel really safe there because it's not too big. It's really easy to find your way around, and Norwich is quite cute. It's got loads of little lanes and individual shops and restaurants and cafes. So some of my favourite places to eat are Cafe Number 33. That's really nice for breakfast and brunch. Gonzo's is a really nice burger place, and Pono Superfood Bar is really nice as well. They do like smoothie bowls, and that's more kind of healthy stuff, but that is really, really good. Got a lot of activities you can do as well. So they've got arcades, trampoline parks, bowling alleys, cinemas, so you won't struggle to find something to do. It's also super easy to get into Norwich from uni, so there is a bus, 2 different buses that run from campus, and it takes about half an hour to get into the city centre. There's also some really nice events in Norwich as well. So they've got the firework display, and they also have the annual light switch on, which is such a big event, and they quite often have like celebrities that come and do entertainment and stuff. I also just quickly wanted to add, because I hadn't discovered this until a few months ago, and in Eaton Park, which is literally right next to UEA, there's a little mini golf place, and it's £3 for a student. It's so much fun, and it's right on your doorstep. I can't believe I never discovered it before, to be honest, but we've literally started doing that every Sunday. So that is my little rundown of the 5 reasons why you should pick UEA. I've tried to keep it as condensed as possible, and there is a lot more that I could have said. I absolutely love UEA. I couldn't imagine myself anywhere else, and yeah, I can't wait to get back there in September. If you do want to know any more information, I have made a video on my YouTube channel. If you just search in Leah Sophie, then it should come up, and I've got a uni playlist, so that video is included there. It is called Everything You Need to Know About UEA, and it's basically a more detailed version of this one. You can also find my YouTube video through my Instagram account, or if you have any more questions, then feel free to DM me on Instagram and I'll be more than happy to answer. And that is pretty much everything I wanted to say. So I do hope this video has been helpful and has shown you the reasons why UEA really is amazing.
We've only just started working with her, so her older stuff is stuff that she didn't even create for us, so it's got some very honest opinions in it, so please do take a look at that. And I've actually just written down a note to look up Disco Bingo when we get back, because I've never heard of that, so I'm definitely going to check that out for campus when we return.
Thank you so much, Leah. That was really good. We're now going to hear from a couple of our other students as well, who you heard at the start. So firstly, we've got Emily. So hopefully Emily's going to jump on screen in a sec and just talk to you about kind of her journey and getting to UEA and what she likes about UEA as well. So hopefully Emily will jump on in a sec.
Hiya. So yes, as you can see from the photo on screen, wait, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Emily.
Okay, cool. The little microphone wasn't doing its thing, so got a bit worried. Okay, yeah, so I'm a 4th year student. I did a year abroad, that's why I'm in my 4th year. I study law, but kind of a modified degree, so I basically do law and French. So I've been around for a while, so hopefully I can give you a good summary. For those of you who think, wow, maybe she's old and doesn't remember how I feel, when I went for my year abroad uni, I had to start all over again, so I kind of remember how I was feeling. So hopefully this helps. So basically, I kind of went through like a list of priorities to decide where I wanted to go. And as the law student I am, academics is pretty high up there. Leah mentioned in her video that UEA does score very highly on league tables and stuff like that. But as somebody that has been studying there for a while, I can confirm it is actually just an amazing place to be. The photo on the right-hand side of the screen is actually from the first time I ever went to UEA. It was my open day, so that's very cool. And I have taken many seminars in that room. I also had like smaller lectures towards the last few years of uni, when there were more optional modules. And it's just like a really nice building. But to be honest, all of the buildings at UEA are really cool. So a lot of them are quite like up to date, have very nice facilities. The photo on the left-hand side is actually near my dissertation, which I finished a couple of weeks ago. Luckily for me, I got it in on time. It was quite a long process. I had to apply to do my dissertation, so I had like a lot of things to do. But I'm very proud of what I handed in, and I think it's like how much I've learnt in the last couple of years. So yeah, I'm very proud of myself. So Leah also used similar photos to me, but the next thing I thought about was the campus, because obviously we're going to be living there or living near there for quite a few years. So basically, when I first went there, I saw the concrete kind of buildings that you first see, and a lot of people say like, oh, is it not depressing? But the answer is definitely not. You actually just kind of stop seeing the concrete, which sounds a bit funny, but it's like it doesn't really exist. And you see a lot of the green spaces instead. So as you can see from my little happy face, I went for a relieving walk when I was a bit stressed earlier this year. Leah also mentioned that the campus is pretty easy to navigate. A lot of my friends said that that was something that they considered too. It actually only takes like 10 minutes to get from one end to the other, which is very handy when you've got like back-to-back lectures. And it's really easy not to get lost. There are a couple of buildings that I've had to ask to find the first time that I got there but students are always really friendly and there's always someone around to help you if you do get a bit lost. So apart from that, obviously, Norwich is a great place. As you can see from these photos, I'm a bit of a stereotypical white girl, and I love a brunch. So the photo on the left-hand side is actually from an all-vegan restaurant, and it's also carbon neutral, which is really cool. I don't know if you know generally about UVA, but they try and be very environmentally friendly. There's a lot of like environmental buildings, which are very cool. But yeah, that restaurant is particularly good. It's in town and it's very pretty. So yeah, I would recommend. The middle photo is actually from Eaton Park, and there's a cafe inside of it. So that's where Leah showed you that you can do like mini golfing. There's also like this weird tiny train thing that a lot of kids go on, but it's really cute. And it's one of 2 parks. So Earlham Park is right next to like the uni. Earlham Hall is the law building, so it kind of backs onto it. They're both really nice places to just chill with your friends, go for walks, like just generally have a great time. And the photo on the right hand side is actually the Sainsbury's Centre. So the Sainsbury's Centre for Visual Arts is on campus, and they have like a permanent exhibition, and then they have exhibitions kind of like for a couple of weeks or months. At the moment, I'm pretty sure you can see them like online. There's like a virtual thing that's going on, and they've just got some new sculptures for their sculpture park, which is really cool. And as a student, you get free entry to all of the what are they called? All of the like newer exhibitions that come. So that's a really good opportunity too. If you are doing like art history and stuff like that, so you get access to a lot of the like study spaces in the building, which are also very nice. And there's like a whole cafe restaurant in there too. So the next thing was thinking about what I could get involved with that wasn't just my studies. So I joined cheer in my second year of university, and it was honestly the best decision that I've ever made. So the way that like clubs and societies work is that you join via a membership on the UEA SE page, and then from there you can kind of choose how involved you get. So you could actually just join us and not turn up if you didn't want to, but you can do a lot more. So basically students run clubs and societies, so you can be on a committee which helps like organise events and stuff for your club. So I've been on committee for cheer this year. I'm the Equality and Diversity, Health and Safety and Union Council rep, which is not a catchy title, I know, but has actually taught me so much. And I actually am able to use it for my job applications and stuff now, which is really good. So I'm about to leave uni, very scary, I know. And for like cheer and a lot of the dance squads and even like football and stuff like that, you can join as kind of like a more socially member, just go to training, or you could get more involved and compete for the uni through like trials and stuff like that. Really easy to join. You literally just do it on a website, and then yeah, you can get as involved as you want. But I would really recommend doing it. It's a really good way to just meet some friends, like have some time out when you're stressed. It's nice to have somewhere to go. Gives you a routine, and obviously you don't have to join cheer, but I would very much recommend. A lot of the clubs and societies also have Instagram pages, so ours we keep quite active. Today we posted about, we did like a challenge to raise money for NHS charities in Mind and raise £250. That's really cool. So yeah, and then you can also get involved like through your societies. They kind of do these things called cigarette challenges, where you can kind of like do like netball fit and stuff like that. So there's lots of opportunities. So I took all of those things into account, and I decided to apply for UEA. So I actually got 4 out of 5 of my offers, and UEA was my second choice. I actually firstly applied to it because it made sense to me because it had like more accessible grades. Because for law at the time you had to start with like AAA, and then I ended up applying for an AAB one. I know that the grading system has changed now. I'm old, I'm sorry. Regardless, I loved UEA so much, and then my results day was a little bit stressful, I'm not gonna lie. So just to say that if anyone's worried about it, like I know it can be quite a big day in your life, but you typically end up where you are kind of like destined to be. I know that sounds a bit like dramatic, But I am so happy with going to UEA. I've made so many friends. I still with my first year flatmates now, which is crazy. We've all like done a year abroad together, but in different places. So I went to France, one of them went to New York, one went to Amsterdam, and then we kind of all came back in our 4th year and lived together again. I'm sure that some of you have year abroad related questions, which I can answer at the end. But just to say that there's just so many good things to get involved with, and try not to worry too much about your results. And hopefully you will love it when you do come here.
Thank you, Emily. That's really, really lovely. I like how you've given your personal experience to that. Also, you called yourself old twice, so pack that in, because when you do that, it makes me feel so old. If you're old, then I am ancient. So we are going to go over to George now. So George is a med student, and he's going to talk you through what UEA is really like, perhaps touch on some of the same areas as Emily, but giving it his own sassy spin. So over to you, George.
Thank you, Beth. So, yep, my name is George. I am a 3rd year medical student. So just to annoy her, that also means that I'm old, because I've been here for way too long, but I'm here for a lot longer, and honestly, no regrets whatsoever. I love it. Best decision of my life. So I'm originally from near Manchester, which means I'm about 4.5 hours away. And I think I remember when I was applying to university in the first place, there were like a few things that I was considering. Like, first one, could I get in? Most important, you're at this point, so you've probably considered that already. So I won't touch on that too much. And then also thinking, like, for me personally, distance. I was one of those people that didn't really want to be too close to home. For some people, it really works, and it's great if it does. But for me, I was like, I want to go explore, find somewhere new, become my own person, all that sort of jazz. So, like, UEA, obviously, great option for that for me because it is a bit of a distance away, but still very accessible. There's a direct train for me, which is ideal. And then also, obviously, look at the course, city, kind of like the campus, all that sort of stuff. So, I was very lucky. I managed to get 2 offers, and that made it a lot easier for me to decide kind of like what should I do, kind of like for my firm and insurance, which 2 universities should it be, because I only had 2 offers. But then kind of like when I got that second offer and the rest rejections, I was a bit like, I need to make decisions now. And like I remember kind of like that moment quite clearly. Kind of like I was on a coffee date with my friend, and I got an offer from not like UEA, and I was like, ah! Then I was just like, because you know, decisions, I'm not really great at them. But obviously I made a great decision here, so fun times. So obviously, like, I've got these offers. I'd applied for them for similar reasons. They're both adequately far away, wouldn't really know too many people, and I could see myself being happy at both. But then you're like stuck with the decision. Like, you need to choose where you're going to be happiest for 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe even 7, and longer if you do a PhD. And it's quite a big decision to make. And I think for me at the time, there was like 3 major points that I considered. So first up was the course, obviously. Doing medicine, I'm a bit of a nerd, this is what I've considered, but also going to university, you are ultimately there to study. And I think it's really important to see, will you get a good education? Because you're paying a lot, and obviously, look at all the accolades we're getting. You're going to a good education. Like, look at us, gold teaching, top 200 in the world, top 25 in the UK, and top 50 for research citations. So, like, honestly, hello. And it's obviously like amazing. Like, I remember when I was applying, I heard so much stuff about like Russell Group universities and like Red Bricks. Like, obviously UEA's neither of those, but Red Bricks just means that the university's old, and then Russell Group means that they're paid to be in a group that is good for research. But we're good for research anyway, and we're also good at teaching. So I was a bit like, obvious choice there. And I think it's like with other courses especially, there's a lot of difference in what you can do. You can study biology at one university and it'd be completely different to what you do at another university. So my honest to God advice would be always, always, always look at the course content, see if there's modules that interest you. Because like some biology courses could be like entirely ecology. And I know if I was doing biology, that wouldn't be my main set of interests. But at UEA, I know, like, obviously this is all courses, not just biology. is just the first thing that came to mind. Like we have the option to kind of like change all your modules about, do different stuff, really individualize your degree. And like obviously with my degree as well, it's very placement heavy. I do a lot of placement. I'm learning kind of like on the job technically, which I think was really amazing. It's very practical, and obviously that transfers to all the courses at UEA. They really try and make it a very practical degree to really get that experience, which really helps with employability. So yeah, course really good in it. And obviously, one of the other things that I considered was the cost of the university, because I'm a bit of a cheapskate and I also like to spend money on myself. So I wanted as much left over from my maintenance loan as possible. And like, if you consider my two choices, Norwich and Newcastle, Newcastle is like as north as to get, cheapest pint in the country, something like that. And then Newcastle is like in the south. So like for me, I was a bit like, well, Newcastle is probably going to be cheaper. Spoiler alert, not necessarily. But like obviously it's quite a multifactorial thing. I want to go to university to study, so like yes, cheapness is great, but it's not the first priority for me personally. And like yeah, I think most of what I wanted was not expensive, and Norwich is not expensive or whatsoever. Like cost of living is important. Like I put a picture here of the cigarettes. We all put a picture of the zigs. We love it. I think they're stunning. I first saw these and I was like, I want to live in these. So I chose a slightly more expensive accommodation type for me personally. And honestly, best decision of my life. It was great. And like I could have gone for cheaper options, but you know what? Whatever. Because like from first year onwards, like once you move into private accommodation, Norwich is very cheap to live in. Like I know what I'm paying for next year is about 360 a month. People that are getting like the exact same thing, if less, in cities like Bristol, Manchester, and they're paying about 200 quid more than me a month. And I'm just like, nah, that's not the tea, not for me, thank you. And then obviously, like, there's also food shops nearby to the uni. We're not in the city, but like we're 10 minutes away from Aldi, and like, hello, Aldi is dead cheap. It's great. And the Norwich itself is a very cheap city, which is something that I more kind of like found out when I was here, but it's also something that I did consider too at the time. And also one statistic that I always remember, I think Norwich or UEA itself was ranked like one of the most affordable universities in the country at one time I was applying. I don't know the exact figures, but it was up there. So yeah, it's always nice to know that. And then like the third out of three major things that I thought about was the vibe. And it's really hard to put this into words. Like I don't know how many of you will have had the chance to visit UEA. Obviously, there's a global pandemic going on. It's quite difficult to get around. But I think if you have visited, I really hope that you got that same vibe, that same comfort, that feeling of just correctness and like friendliness emanating from the campus. Like I remember kind of like even on my interview day, when I was hardly able to like function like a normal human being and talk to people, I still had that full confidence in UEA and people coming here to be able to talk to people when I eventually got lost, because it had to happen, didn't it? It had to. I managed to ask someone on the campus for directions and I knew it would be fine. Like I can't describe how comfortable it feels here. There's very much like a sense of community. And again, if I refer back to my choices, Norwich versus Newcastle, the latter is a city university, Newcastle University. And like in my eyes, I just don't think with cities you get that same sense of community of being a university student with however many students that we have here on campus. I think for me personally, I would see myself being a bit of a fish out of a pond if I was in a city, you know, just because you don't know who is around you. But like here, I can go on campus, I can recognize people, and like it's just a very friendly atmosphere. And there's something that I realized when I came here as well. Norwich itself is a very friendly city. Like I'm used to the north, I'm used to Manchester. People thank the bus drivers because they're polite. And like that's something that still happens in Norwich, which I was quite pleasantly surprised after hearing the rumours about the south. But yeah, like it's as a city, it's really nice. And I think there's quite a few things that like I realised once I came to UEA that really I should have been thinking about. I didn't, but really turned out for the best for me. Like the city itself, obviously, Leah, Emily have both touched on this as well, but the city is amazing. Like, I think I remember again when I was applying, my chemistry teacher was like, "Oh, what are you going to do? Just go to full time?" And like, I was like, I don't know. It didn't really occur to me to think about it too much. I think some people think that Norwich is like a sleepy pub city, whatever. Like, yeah, we have pubs, we have loads of them. If that's your thing, hello, it's great. But also, we got so much else. Leah also went into kind of the clubbing side, so I'll leave that alone. But I think it's fantastic. And like so much to do, like the nightlife. There's like pubs, bars, restaurants, cafes, shops. You got all the kind of like brands and all the kind of like chains. Like if you want a Wagamama's, you can always get a Wagamama's. You can get that anywhere, but only in Norwich can get very specific kind of like independent cafes and restaurants, which I think are just absolutely lush. And then if you aren't into that sort of stuff, you aren't into food, A, what's wrong with you? But B, there's so much other stuff as well. Still, there's cinemas. There's like 4 cinemas in Norwich. It's mad. But anyway, loads of stuff to do. Like I think if you come here, you'll absolutely love it. And as a quick summary side, quick too long, didn't read. Stunning, amazing, affordable, beautiful. All adjectives to describe myself, but also UEA itself too. Like it is stunning. The campus itself is absolutely beautiful. It feels really nice. It feels great. The courses are amazing. Like I've already said, we've got a gold award for our teaching. Not many universities can say that, but we can. So, you know. And then also, it's affordable. Like Norwich is a cheap city, and not like cheap tacky, like cheap affordable. Like you're going to be able to here have a good standard of living and on a budget as well. Like you don't have to scrimp as much as you would have to in other universities at other cities. Then it's just beautiful as well. If you're vain like myself, there's so many photo spots like on campus. I think this picture of myself is beautiful. This is taken on campus. There's so many spots like that. If you're tired of campus, Norwich itself is beautiful. Like there's so many different picturesque things. And even if you get tired of Norwich itself, which A, impossible, but also Norfolk, its countryside is beautiful. Norfolk itself is a beautiful county. And I think people don't talk about that enough. But on that note, I think I'll pass back to Beth. So thank you very much for listening to my part.
Thank you so much, George. That was really funny and really great, really insightful. I think, yeah, having 3 completely different kind of students all sum up, but also kind of reiterate the same points was really lovely. And yeah, I loved your last slide. When we first saw that, I thought you were just describing yourself. So, which is great. But yeah, thank you so much. We've got loads of questions and we've got about 15 minutes left. So we'll try and quickly answer these for you as best as we can. So the first question, if I just scroll back, is we've got, what is the deadline for firm choice and insurance choice? So Kelly, the deadline is the 18th of June for that. The next question we've got is Liberty, and she just said, how does a year abroad work? When do you find out if you're eligible for it, and when do you choose, and where do you go? So I think, if that's okay, we'll pass that on over to Emily, because Emily did a year abroad, and hopefully she can explain the kind of process regarding a year abroad.
Hi, sorry. Every time I turn my computer on, it's just being a bit weird. Okay, yeah, so my year abroad, there's a couple of ways that you can kind of get involved with it. So I applied for a course that had a year abroad attached to it. So I always knew that I was applying for a 4-year degree. And then basically there's like a kind of thing, a couple of things that you have to do to make sure you can in fact go on your year abroad. So I had to get a certain grade average. I think it was 55% in the end, which is very achievable. And which I did do, obviously. Some people then transfer onto the course. It depends on your course, how many people have signed up for a year abroad at the start, and then kind of like people do drop out or change their mind. So study abroad is very good at like getting in contact with you, telling you if you're on a waiting list, if you can go. In terms of like organisation, in your second year is when you start kind of looking into it in more detail. So you start having year abroad meetings. You do kind of get like financial support for traveling. there's a couple of ways that happens depending on which country you go to. And for me, I went to Europe and we had Erasmus at the time. I think there was still a question as to like whether that will apply or not. So sorry, I can't help much with that. But Student Finance England gives you more money for your year abroad basically than you'd normally get. And then there are kind of like travel grants and stuff that you can get if you're eligible. So if you're kind of in a lower income household, which covers like actually kind of insurance, visas, and actual traveling, so planes and stuff like that. And then on your year abroad, you have pretty frequent contact with the study abroad people if you need any help. And then, yeah, you just seamlessly come back.
Lovely, thank you, Emily. I think you're definitely the best person, because Meg and I know a fair bit, but you've actually lived it, so that's really, really helpful. Thank you. UEA actually has over 200 different global partners, so there really is a huge variety of where you can go. I definitely recommend looking on the study abroad website pages for that. We have now had a few accommodation questions in, so I'm going to cover those really quickly, because hopefully I know a bit more than our students do. So the first question we had on that was, are there any recommendations for finding housing outside of halls? Yes, so usually either you can do this in your first year, but most students choose to do this from second year. But in your December of your first year, usually you'll start looking for accommodation that's not on campus. Okay, so second, third year, forever onwards, choose to not live on campus usually because it's generally cheaper. What I would recommend for that is using the university's sister companies, Home Run and Home Let. So these are landlords and houses that we have vetted and we make sure they're accredited, and we can act as an intermediary if anything goes wrong for you as a student while you are in accommodation. Okay, so that's Home Run and Home Let. Lucy will probably post a link to that in the chat in a minute. Is there a deadline for accommodation? Yes, there is. Okay, so what happens with accommodation deadlines is once you go firm or insurance, which hopefully you'll all do after this webinar, is you get an email shortly afterwards with your accommodation preference form. So on this form, literally what it says it is, you list in order of preference what type of accommodation it is that you'd like at UEA. And most students get within their third choice. Okay, the majority of students get first choice, but the larger majority get within the top three choices. So you have got a very good chance of getting exactly what you want. Now, the deadline to get this form back to UEA is the 31st of July. That is a very, very important deadline, because if you send it in after that, or even on results day, we get some students try to send it in, you will still get accommodation. It's not entirely guaranteed. We're never going to leave students destitute or anything like that, but it means it's much more likely you're not going to get what you want. So you must get that form in, even if you are an insurance choice with us. Okay, so that's the 31st of July. It's not first come, first served. So even if you sent it today, you're not likely to get looked at until the actual 31st of July. Okay, so we start looking at all of them past the deadline. So it's not first come, first served. Do you have accommodation for couples? So we've got one student and one non-student. We've all been scrambling in our chat trying to find an answer to this. And really the answer is no, nothing on campus. There is some family accommodation, but it wouldn't really for a girlfriend, boyfriend situation or whatever it would be. It's for people with children and things like that. The only other option you've got to look at again is the Home Run and Home Let that I've already talked about. So that's student accommodation, and it really would be down to the landlord whether they'd be okay to have a non-student living in the house. So it would be up to you to sort that out, I'm afraid. I think that was there's a few other accommodation questions here. This one from Kelly. Is private renting cheaper than student accommodation on campus? Yes, private renting is cheaper, just because it doesn't include mostly your bills. Okay, that's really the main difference with that. Accommodation on campus for students includes all of your bills, and it is in the right centre of campus, so it is more expensive. But private renting doesn't include any bills, so it's generally around about £60 per week. I think there was another accommodation question, but I can't find it at the moment. I think it was something about whether that was at the deadline, 31st of July again. I've heard that some people don't get their first choice accommodation, just a bit worried because I won't want to share a room. That's absolutely fine. 93% of students get within their top three choice of accommodation. So you are very, very likely to get what you want. If you didn't want to share a room, it's very unlikely that you'd be put in that situation unless you've selected that as a choice. Okay, so please don't worry about that. And in terms of accommodation costs, our most expensive is 170 per week, our cheapest is 70. So there is something to suit everyone's budget. I'm going to pass over to Meg now to give me a break to take a sip of Coke and to ask our students a question instead of me rambling on.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you for rattling through those. Rui's asked a question about not being able to reach entry requirements. So that's an admissions question. We're not admissions officers here, unfortunately. So I will just forward to this slide, and please get in contact with the admissions service using this email address at the top there, and ask them. I'm sure we'll be able to take everything into consideration, as Beth mentioned at the start. If you've missed grades or whether it depends on the subject, it depends on how many places there are, and lots of other factors. So if you just pop that over to admissions, they'll be able to answer that for you. Now we've got a student question finally. So Kelly's asked, what societies are available for new students? So I don't know if George will go to you first. Is that all right? To answer about societies.
Yep, of course. So with societies, like literally, I think someone's put the link in the conversation, the chat section. Wow, conversation. So literally, from the start of the year, you can join literally anyone you want, as many as you want. There's so many different options to suit people. You see that some will be referred to as societies, some as clubs. This just tend to mean societies as non-sports. Usually, societies are sport, or clubs are sports, and usually there's some level of competition with clubs. However, anyone can join any of them. You don't have to have prior kind of like qualifications. Usually they may require like tryouts with teams, that sort of thing, but like they have casual members too. And the societies are just a really great way to meet loads of new people away from your course, away from your accommodation. And there's like over 250 odd, something like that. And usually societies cost, I think, £3 to join. Sports clubs a bit more due to associated costs with running a sports club. But genuinely, like I would really recommend trying as many different options as you can. You don't have to pay before committing to anything. You can go to a give it a go session, try something new, just figure if you like the people, that sort of thing. And like university, you can try literally anything you want to. I'd really recommend doing that.
Thank you so much. That's great. And Emily, have you got anything else to add? Another student's asked, are there course football teams? E.g., is there like geography students versus history students for certain sports? I know you do lots of your cheer and stuff, so whether you could answer that as well as societies and sports.
Yeah, so on the kind of like history, geography thing generally, so I know, or at least I'm pretty sure, George might tell me I'm wrong, but basically we had a Movember challenge earlier this year, which is raising money for like men's health. And I'm pretty sure that the medical school has an actual football team or a rugby team, something like that, that's like official. Not a lot of like the actual subjects have a proper like club that you sign up to on the website. But what a lot of them do is, for football specifically, I know this, there's like a Wednesday league and a Sunday league. And basically it's like a pay to play kind of system, and people tend to have a group within the society or club, like, yeah, within the subject is the best way to say that. You can actually join with your friends as well. But for example, mine's had like a business kind of like team, and then they ended up winning their league, so that's quite cool. Generally speaking, so George mentioned that joining a club is a bit more expensive. That is true. So basically, different clubs will have different costs to joining. They'll all be on the website. So basically, there's like a cost for each one, which will kind of include different things. So for example, like we have to rent spaces. A lot of like the travel is included in that cost and stuff like that. And then as well as that, there's basically something called a SAM membership. So you only pay that once. You can actually pay for a semester or for the year. So it depends on like what suits your needs, if you're doing a semester abroad, something like that. But you only pay that as a one-time thing, and that covers a lot of things. So it covers like insurance, also goes towards traveling. And it's because UEA Sport kind of gives each sport a budget to like buy equipment, buy costumes, stuff like that. Within clubs, you might also have to buy costumes. So for example, if you do dance, you typically have to buy a costume, tights and shoes. For others, they kind of give you equipment. So like, I'm trying to think of an example, like American football need a lot of equipment, obviously just to stay safe and stuff like that. But like I said, all of the clubs tend to have, well, all of the clubs do have ways to contact them, either on the SE website or you can do it via their Instagram. So if you want to know about a specific club and how much it should cost you for next year, then just send them a message and they should reply to you pretty quickly.
Thank you, Emily. That's really, really great. And we have had some questions coming in about COVID stuff. So I'm just going to try and cover that really, really quickly so that we can then get back to grilling you guys. And so in terms of, well, whether semester will start normally in September, at the moment, yes, UEA is aiming to open September as normal for campus for you guys. So there will be some distance learning, blended learning and social distancing in place. Not a sentence I ever thought I'd have to say. But yes, we are hoping to open campus in September, and that is what we are working towards at the moment. In terms of accepting lower grades, I know some of you seem to be worried about what's going to happen with your results because you've not been able to take your exams. We have spoken in length with our admissions team about this, and our head of admissions, Alex Delaney, has said we will be flexible with accepting our offer holders who aren't able to meet the conditions of the offer in the way that they expected or at the time they expected. We are in regular contact with the government, UCAS and exam boards, and we will share any new information as we have it. So the thing to take from that is we are going to be as flexible as possible with you guys. As a university, we always are anyway, but obviously on results day, if something has happened, please do get in touch with us and we'll try to help you as much as possible. We want to take you to university. We want to have you, so we are going to be as flexible as possible. Our admissions team is very much on board with this. So we're going to try and see if Leah's microphone has started working now again, because I feel like she's going to be good at answering this question. But Emily, if you could be on standby just in case her microphone isn't working. So Leah, if you could just turn your microphone on. And then the question I've got for you is that have you got any tips for making friends during freshers? Because I know this is something people worry about a lot and that everyone worries about before starting university. So Leah, is your microphone working? I don't think it is it? Emily, to you then instead, any tips for making friends during freshers? I know you think you're old and that was years ago, but I promise you still have some good information.
Yeah, so I would say try and be brave is like the best advice I can give you. I know it's like a massive cliche that people say a lot, but everyone is in the same boat as you. Like everybody's just come there for the first time. For example, there was only one other person from my school who came to UEA, and I never knew anyone that went there before, so I was a bit like scared. But I was very lucky that I really liked my housemates, which really helped. I made friends on my course. You actually can join chats before you come to uni too. So quite often you'll see that say you accept your offer and then you go on a UEA welcome page type thing on Facebook. The name changes every so often, but I think there was like a UEA freshers page last year. And basically you can find who's living in your accommodation and people on your course. So I am in my course chat, and then at the time I was in Nelson Court's chat because that's where my first year accommodation was. So that kind of helps you like get to know people before you actually meet them. It makes it a bit less intimidating. I think in terms of like the event situation this year, so uni has to be quite careful with how many people are in one space, I'm sure. But I'm sure that you will still have opportunities to kind of like meet people when it's safer to. And when you do, like I said, just kind of be brave. And then, yeah, clubs and societies are really helpful. There'll usually be like Facebook page or chats and stuff for them too. And then eventually you'll find people that you like and you'll be BFFs forever and ever.
Thank you, that's so nice. One of my top tips as well is to buy a door stop as well. So you can kind of leave your doors open or leave your flats open, so it's a bit easier to kind of meet friends. In my halls they kept telling us to shut the doors because actually there were fire doors, so check the halls you're in first. But yeah, that's another kind of top tip. We're aware of the time. We've got quite a few questions left. We've got quite a few questions regarding so first one's about student exchange programs. Yes, we offer them as a year abroad. I think that was what you were asking, Rui. Hopefully that's answered your question. So we've had other questions regarding bursaries, NHS bursaries, and so on. So essentially, just to kind of sum up, NHS bursaries are a separate application to student finance and to university bursaries. So if you are doing an NHS course such as physio, such as nursing, such as midwifery, you are eligible for an NHS bursary. The web link is at the bottom of the page here. I think the deadline is the 31st of July as well. And this is £5,000 per year, kind of a free cash to help you on your NHS course. So please apply for it. It's a separate application, and £5,000 of free money, which I don't think you'll probably ever get in your life again. So that's a separate application. So if you are eligible for any of our scholarships or any of our bursaries at UEA, you can also apply for NHS bursary too. Our bursaries at UEA, how they work is it's not an application. However, it is we automatically award you a bursary if you meet the criteria. So hopefully one of my colleagues will post the link to our bursaries. If you have already applied for student finance through Student Finance England, then, and if you've ticked that you're happy for us to see your application as a university, then we will automatically see your applicant and see if you're eligible for one of our bursaries and award that to you. So it's quite straightforward in that sense. So if you are eligible for one, we'll automatically give it to you. And then your NHS bursary is separate. Let's try and whiz through a couple others. Someone else said about do bursaries. Yes, we do. Hopefully someone will post the link. Are there bursaries available for speech and language students? Again, you can apply to the NHS bursary for that as well. When we get told if you receive a bursary, again, that'll be on our webpage, so you can have a look at that. Beth, have you got any other questions?
No, I think that really is all the time we've got for questions, which I know a lot of you have asked a few more things about COVID-19, and I'm afraid we have said everything that is up-to-date information about that as possible at the moment. I think in the next few weeks, as the governments reveal their plans more, then the university will be able to give more concrete answers. I'm so sorry. I know that's awful at the moment for you guys, not knowing what's going to happen, but please do trust that at the moment, the university is working towards opening up the campus for you to go and study, and the Students' Union is also doing exactly the same thing. So they're setting things in place already for Freshers Week and things like that. There is a plan, it's just not concrete yet until the government have given us a go-ahead on a few things. If you do have any questions that you still need answering, Meg left the admissions email up there for quite a while. Please do email admissions. They should be able to answer anything you have. Or if you've got anything that you'd like to know that we covered today, if you'd like to ask our students any more questions, please do go to HE Webinars, email hewebinars@uea.ac.uk. We have got a lot more seminars coming up over the next few weeks, so these are going to be quite specific ones. So we've got careers ones, things like that. So please do take a look at our website and sign up to a few of those as well, because they will be answering lots of questions. You might be able to get something answered that you hadn't already. But thank you so much. We really hope that that was helpful and that you enjoyed it. And thank you so much to our students that joined in and helped us as well. You're much better than Meg and I, just because you're younger and at university. And hopefully you guys have got more of an insight now as to why you should choose UEA. You absolutely should choose UEA. It's amazing. I wish I had studied there, and I love working there so much. Anything else to say, Meg?
No, I think that's everything. Just want to say thank you so much for listening, and thank you so much, George, Emily, and Leah, for being so brilliant as usual. Yeah, if you've got any other questions, then please just get in touch with us.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.